Salam, چطوری? Well, I just said hi, how are you in Farsi. Farsi is the language of where I come from. Do you know where I come from? I come from Iran, or Iran. I'm sure you've heard of the second one. Iran is located in Middle East, and Middle East is in the west of Asia, another continent, very far away. The map of Iran looks like a cat if you look it up. As I said, we speak Farsi, or sometimes you hear Persian. We are a very old country, a very, very old country. A lot of history behind our country. At the same time, a lot of people confuse us with some Arabic countries. For example, you might think Iran and Iraq, or Saudi Arabia, or Emirates are all the same. But we're not. We don't speak Arabic. We speak Farsi. Most of people in Iran are Muslims. I'm Muslim too. Yes, and I know. I'm having a beard, but not everyone in Iran has beard. But I admit, we're all mostly very hairy, as you can tell. Well, it is what it is, I guess. We're around 80 million people in that country, and we have all sorts of weather across the country. You can go to some places to snow, you can go some places to be by the beach, you can go to desert, or you can be in the forest. But you have to travel a little bit. You have mountains, and you have very humid areas. You know something? Iran has the largest lake in the world. That's so large that they call it sea, not a lake anymore. Have you heard of Caspian Sea? Caspian Sea is the largest lake in the world and is located in north of Iran. We also have another gulf or sea at the bottom, which is called the Persian Gulf. That's at the south, and we have one in the north called Caspian Sea. Well, the most important tradition or the most important holiday in Iran is the New Year. But the New Year in Iran is different than the New Year here in the US. Because the New Year in Iran is when the spring starts. And the spring starts around late March. It's a 2-week break, and we do all sorts of stuff. Like Easter's holiday here, we do paint eggs, and we do give gifts to each other. And when it is the 13th day of this holiday, we go out and have a picnic. Do you know why? Because people think 13 is an unlucky number, so that's why they go out, to make sure they don't get cursed. Well, that's a tradition. I don't think a lot of people believe in it, to be honest. Another important holiday, another important date in our calendar is when the night is the longest. That's at the end of fall. That's called the Yalda Eve. The Yalda Eve is when we have the longest night in the year. People get together, they eat a lot of nuts, a lot of kernels, and they eat watermelon and pomegranate. They read poems and they have a good time together the whole night, and they spend the night together. These are two of my favorite traditions and holidays in Iran. Iran, as I said, is a large country, so we have different dialects and ethnicities. For example, if you go to northwest of Iran, people speak Turkish, if you've heard of it. Some people in the southwest, they're Kurds. But predominantly, most of Iran, they speak Farsi, and they mostly understand Farsi. Foods. Like other countries in Middle East, we also have our own types of kebab. Do you like kebab? I bet you do. But it's not only that. Actually, that's not even my favorite food. I love stews. We have a lot of good stews. I miss them so much. Orme sabzi, qeymeh. Please search Persian food and convince some of your parents to go out and eat Persian food. I bet you will love it. That's basically stew with rice. And there's saffron on top of rice. You know what saffron is? Saffron is the most expensive spice in the world, and Iran has the most of it. It's even called the red gold. But yeah, that's beautiful. That's a red, spicy, nice smelling spice. People are very friendly, very family oriented. They get together all the time, and super emotional. Yes, they're very emotional, no matter what. They decide a lot of times based on their emotions. And they've been through so many hard times in their history. So they're very resilient. Because as I said, we have a lot of history. If you go to Iran, you can see a lot of museums, a lot of monuments, and we have a lot of countries, a lot of provinces, a lot of states in Iran that have their own food, their own traditional food. It's like a country, it's like a multiple country inside one country. Some of the most important cities in Iran are Tehran, which is the capital, Mashhad, Tabriz, or Shiraz. And finally, yes, there are some differences between me and you. But you know what? We're all humans. And that's how we connect. Khadafez.